values. So I was quite wondering, as a leaders, where we are heading and what we are striking for. So we should understand what are the major pillars. The NEP is actually focusing on major, the main four pillars of this education system. I hope that you will agree with me with this. With this one, what I believe as a leader, these are the main areas a school, when they structure the curriculum or when they structure their pedagogy, they should keep in mind that. So what kind of system or what kind of curriculum I should adapt in the school environment? Because sometimes, as the Vartisa rightly said, that in some of the areas, the things are very good, but when you go to the remote areas, where the education system need a redefining system. You need a good people, a good teachers, good gurus are required. But at the end, what exactly matters? What kind of curriculum that you're designing? As are designing as a leader, we can also introspect ourselves. We can also meditate ourselves that are we actually giving following this is the basic, the fundamentals of are we following the fundamentals of the education system? Is your curriculum has the physical intelligence, is physical growth of a child, whether your education system includes the intellectual growth of a child, or is our education system gives scope on the emotional intelligence side, and also are we talking about spiritual? So that's what we all have struck at one point. Values are missing, social commitments are not there, children are not respecting, children are not having honesty. So if any of these pillars are missing, and that would be going to be a big disaster for the school. What do you think? Do we need to spend our entire curriculum based on, like as I have seen the previous slide here, you can see that
Vipin sir, are you
80%
changing
of
your
the
slides? So we
curriculum.
are able to see your other slides.
No, I changed this one. I just want to ask, pose a question here. Our curriculum do we need a curriculum like this which gives more important to the intellectual side, in the sense I'm talking about the subject part? Are we looking for something as a leaders? Are we looking for something, or you need a blend of everything equal importance? How do you want to see in your school? Am I audible?
You audible, sir?
Vipin sir, are
Yeah.
you related
So
to the first slide, or have you changed your slide?
no, I have changed. I'm just coming back.
So sir,
Just
I'll tell you what has
mention to
happened is though you are changing your slide, it is not seen here. So when you go to window, you have got two parts. One is the PowerPoint, one is the PowerPoint show. So please open PowerPoint show on your screen.
okay.
Yes, now it is.
So
Right, so
now,
now you are at the fourth slide. Yeah, that was the problem.
so can
And
you see now? Can you
yeah,
see?
and if you could close down the right side window, format background, close that part of your PowerPoint. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you
So
close that.
now it's
Yeah.
clear.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So sorry about it. So I was thinking that it's very visible to everyone. So it's not quite surprising actually. Our academics actually at the end, whatever the activities, whatever the value system you develop in the school, at the end for parents, it matters what is the intellectual development of my child. Marks. There comes marks. So what is the score? What is the marks of our child? So you as a leader, we should think about, we should revisit, we should think match with the curriculum. Then what next? Because according to me, and some of the schools, for example, some of the schools I visited, I very often I ask principals while having discussion. I'm always very keen to learn something. I always take away. So I ask these questions: what is new for the next academic year? They say, yeah, same thing, same books, some changes of the books, and things are same similar. So that can be a big threat for schools. What I believe that if someone do not want to change the curriculum, some do not want to focus on major areas that I have mentioned. So as a school, as a leader, when I design my curriculum, I keep equal importance to the physical growth of a child and the intellectual growth of a child. And when it comes to emotional, that's the very, very important thing that we must include in our curriculum. And also when it comes to spiritual. So we're quite often misunderstand the differentiation between the spiritual learning and the religious learning. So the spiritual aspects nothing to do with the religious background. This is something related with the values. So what kind of values our education system focusing on? That is what NEP has clearly in the pedagogy and also in their curriculum, they have clearly mentioned it should be very engaging learning. It should be very activity oriented, where how you going to develop interest in your subject. So let us say, according to my perception, if any one of the pillars are missing in your education system, then as a school leader, we need to think about it, that and where we can introduce these things. So when it comes to here, how my perspective, what I am understanding about NEP, what they want exactly, how education to why education. As you all thought about, according to me, it's not like something cramming. The education is nothing to do with the marks. Education has nothing to do with the right or wrong. Education has the possibility of asking questions. So this is what I believe, that in the education system, learning must take place instead of cramming. And application and understanding, this is very important. Thoughts are very important. Where the creativity are very important. Alternative, exploration, exposure, excursion, experiments, storytelling, fun, and enjoyment. This is what I believe that makes a completely holistic, definition for the education. But we are heading, and actually we are heading towards the marks and the cramming system. And you look at there are schools, there are people, they're not ready to change the even examination, the testing system also, where NEP very clearly says that it can be, a project. So I would like to share one of the very, interesting experience that I encountered in my past experience. We had a excursion. We took the children for an excursion. The children come back and we have given a piece of paper, asked them to share their experience. Yeah, there's so many people, they are very good writers. They tend to give their explanation. But there was a child who wrote a beautiful picture, who portrayed what he has seen. But according to our curriculum, according to our framework, which defines that you need to give marks someone who expressed the thoughts and ideas, and someone who is very good in writing. And what about this child who portrayed the painting? So the teacher has not given any marks, but the paper came to me. So I was very much sad, and I said, this could be one of the best painter, one of the best artists that we are missing. So what I believe that, okay, it's okay, fine, we are having a very good education system. Then how you going to, as a leader, how you going to evaluate how the child does understand the concept? Because there must be an application part. Suppose if you are writing a letter writing, example, I'm talking in terms of whether it is a Punjabi or Hindi or English, the topic can be, usually what happens in normal routine, teacher discusses some topics in the class and teacher gives the same reflection in the examination. So there, you are not actually checking the application pattern of the child. Where I ask the teachers, why can't we change the question? That why can't ask them to recently whatever the activities that you have done, ask them to write an essay on that one. Because that is something related with their life. Now the question paper, when we talk about the question paper, that is also entirely different in many schools. And I have seen the many schools, they're not ready to change the testing pattern. So same stories are repeating for the last 10 years, like there is a textbook speaks about Sheena. Sheena's favorite color is pink and her dress is pink and her bags are pink and so many, it's all about Sheena. Now, the question teacher asked here, okay, what is the favorite color of Sheena? Now, I was quite wondering what you want to test. Now, here actually the biggest misunderstanding takes place between the CBSE and the normal school running people like us. We do not have a classification. What we believe that, okay, CBSE is going to be a cramming system at the end, 9th and 10th marks matter, even when it comes to board class. But what about the rest of the class from 1st to 8th? What you are preparing for your child? So this is what actually we should differentiate. Textbooks are, we all believe in the theory that, in the concept that textbooks are just a guidelines, not just like you need to give directly. So I asked the teachers, why don't you change the questions instead of asking Sheena's favorite color? give a question like, what is your favorite color? And now the child is going to be so much happy, and there's no pressure also. He doesn't need to study the lesson where we are going to check the application part. But here we are giving the entire things here, what exactly happening in the textbook, what exactly written, and we are giving the same thing in the question paper. There no application is exactly taking place, in fact. So this is actually, if you want to change as a leader, if you want to change, if you want to turn the education system, first of all, you should understand what exactly the culture, what exactly the culture of that your surroundings. It's okay, you're preparing the children for the global citizens, whether and these days, what I believe that because I live in Punjab, what my observation is, children are lacking in the mother tongue. But I'm not taking an example of a state, please don't misunderstand. But places like Kerala, so where the first priority is to the mother tongue. But there is a logically and practically there is a justification. If you want to make a child, to be confident, so on which language you promote the confidence in the child? You need the requirement of mother tongue, where the schools are focusing, putting pressure on the child. You need to speak English, you need to speak Polish English. And this is actually something I don't agree with this point. What I believe that the mother tongue is one of the most powerful weapons to teach them values, to teach them creativity, to understand their concept value system, to understand their social commitment. It's just like teachers are coming and throwing in English, and at the end, children, they know nothing. One of the incidents while I was traveling, while I was attending one of the conference in Singapore, so I was traveling with one of my friends. So his daughter also sitting next to him. So in fact, in a couple of minutes, he realized that he is not having the seatbelt. But the child was arguing with him. You made a mistake. You made a mistake. You cannot drive the car without, not wearing the seatbelt. Now you see the child is studying in I think in 5th class. Now you see how the education system is focusing on the social awareness of a child. According to me, these are actually the skills. These are actually our education system is missing. We are focusing on cramming. We are focusing on marks. From the beginning, we are just focusing on right and wrong and different type of things. So let us see this. This pandemic is actually a great blessing. In fact, we realized the importance of teachers. As the many teachers and many educators, they are, just like.
Vipin sir,
I'm just
I
talking
would
from my
request
perspective.
Vipin sir, because of that limitation of time,
I'm almost finished.
we all are enjoying
Just give me a
examples and
minute.
thoughts, but the limitation of time, I
Just
would
give
request you to conclude in 30 seconds.
Agree. Okay, let me conclude what exactly this NCP is looking for. What is their summary? What is their outcome? So this is what their outcome. We need students should be good writers, creators, thinkers, explorers, event managers, doers, change agents, speakers. This is what exactly we need. We need to convert our homework system into a fun work. We should have a physical management, classroom management system, involving the children. We should also focus more on values. So actually a couple of other points are also there, but my conclusion is your education should completely focus on a physical, intellectual, and emotional and spiritual growth. Then we can say we are very good leaders. We can keep a balance of everything with the teachers and including with the management and including with the students. We can do a justifications. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vipin sir, for sharing these important thoughts. You shared your assessment that NEP will create an environment which would develop all physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual capacities of our learners. You talked about those key skills, be it learning, understanding, thoughts, creativity, exploring, among others. Also the values like honesty, integrity, fairness, cooperation, among others, which need to be inculcated among our learners by educators. In the end, you also talked about the importance of mother tongue. Mother tongue is the most powerful tool to create confident learners, and we all agree with you, sir. And in the last slide, I really appreciate your this like homework need to be a fun work. So educators, need to be innovative. They need to adopt that approach where they can convert entire learning into a fun activity. So big thanks, Vipin sir, for sharing these important ideas. I would come back to you with questions.
Yeah, just 1 second. If anybody want to take a snapshot of what NCP is asking in about how the education, how one lecture should be framed. For example, one period, if someone wants, they can take a snapshot of this one. This is how the one chapter in a classroom, how a teacher should execute it. Execute it. So this would sometimes it may help, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, sir, a few sessions back, one very senior educator participated and he shared that, he had spent more than 5 decades in education, and he shared that, what our teachers are missing. They are missing the objectivity inside the classroom. When they go to a class, they don't share that objective of a particular chapter. So your proposed flow, I'm sure, is the answer, is the template how a teacher should divide or should at least present his class to his learners. So that would certainly create an enhanced interest of his learners. So big thanks, Vipin sir, for sharing this. And now I would invite Jaswinder sir, if you can have your ideas, your thoughts.
Thank you, Rajulji, and once again, good evening, everybody. So since we've had a lot of senior edu leaders talk about what works, what doesn't, what should be worked on, I'm going to go a little different, and I'm going to, yes, Dr. Vipin, talk about technology, since I am from the field of technology. So my first and foremost thing that I'm going to talk about is we're all missing somewhere that, yes, NEP 2020 is great, but to implement it, we need to have the right kind of training given to our teachers. We are looking at a lot of changes. What we've been doing from the last 50 years, say 34 years, we suddenly want to change that, and that is possible not by having new teachers, it's by training our current teachers. So how do we train more than 14 million teachers in our country? Huge number. This may be the population of certain cities, the number of teachers that we have. How do we do that? So the answer to that is to bring in technology right from when we want to start training our teachers, because we have a huge country, man. We have a huge country, sir. How can we reach out to each and every corner? How do we reach out to each and every part of the country where we are talking about inclusive education for students? What about inclusive training for our teachers? That's where the challenge is. Varghese sir, you have traveled the country. Vipin sir, you've traveled the country. But that same country has to be traveled to do the training. So my answer to this would be is that we need to deploy technology to do that. But before we use technology to teach teachers how to teach or how to deliver, we first need to train our teachers on how to use technology as just a tool, nothing beyond that. Because there's a lot of information out there, they should be able to locate it, they should be able to find it, they should be able to filter it, and they should be able to present it. So simple tools of technology is something that we need to work on. I'll tell you why. Because you see, we are now catering to that section of the world or that section of the society which is very, very strong. The students of today, we as teachers will never be able to cope up to their levels. They are running faster than what we can think. Understand one thing, we as teachers are technology migrants, and these students are technology residents. They were born amidst technology. In fact, their first oxygen part that they took was with the help of technology. Maybe they were born with the help of technology. So how do we do that? So first, as teachers, see, it is not written anywhere that a teacher should know everything. Let's accept that we too need to keep learning and let the world know that, okay, if I don't know something, I'll come back to it tomorrow. But I should be able to go and look for it before tomorrow comes in. So technology as a tool is something that we will have to use. I think, Sonal ma'am, you did talk about that we cannot live without technology. Yes, we cannot. But there's a portion of technology that we need to use. So let me give you a very simple example. If I have to, how we'll have to change the way we have to teach, because from being a sage on the stage, we have to be a facilitator. How does that work? Say, if I want to talk about a particular topic, or if I want to deliver a session on a particular topic, generally what I would do is I would say, okay, today I'm going to talk about volcanoes, and I start downloading whatever I know from the textbook or things like that. That is going to be a one-way teaching where the students of today are not interested. But if I say that tomorrow I'm going to talk about volcanoes, and I want each one of you as students to get me 10 lines on volcanoes, which is very, very distinct. What is it that the child is going to do? He'll rush home, straight go, Google, and look for 10 sentences on volcanoes. Unfortunately, they will not find those 10 sentences. They will find 10,000 sentences. So now what happens is they will have to skim and scan through them. So they should know reading. So they read through it and they come out with a filtered 10 sentences. Come the next day, everybody comes in, each child gets up and presents his 10 points. First, they build up their presentation skills, right? That's something very important in today's world. Second is the communication skills, Suchitra ma'am, right? They need to come and talk about it, right? So communication skills. Third, they need to collaborate amongst themselves, because out of 30 students getting 10 sentences each, they have to filter out 10 or 20 sentences. They collaborate with their peer groups. So all these traits, all these skills are actually being developed right from the beginning, and very important, they are enjoying it. I would always love to talk about what I found out. I would always learn more from my peer group than from my teacher, because they talk my language and then they're enjoying. So there's not a homework, there's the fun work, like you said, Vipin sir. So what we are talking about is what will the teacher do all the time? That teacher will be there to facilitate this inter-student learning, teaching learning. So then that is where the teacher becomes a facilitator. And let me tell you one thing, kids will love to do that. Some students may be good at X subject, the others may be good at Y subject, but together they will all know everything. And that is what we need to do. So for that, the teacher need not know everything, but the teacher need to facilitate and then later on find out what it is, or herself or himself go look for things. So this is something that we talk about, is that if we bring in such simply, and this is not expensive, you don't need technology. You just need to know how to do it. And this is possible even in the remotest part of the country, because everywhere you have a mobile phone which can Google, right? So, but one thing that we need to do, one thing that I really wanted there to be as a part of NEP 2020, that the government comes up with the education internet. The way, the railways has a railtel, right? A railnet. It is an internet system for the railways. If we would have had an internet system for the education system, which should be totally free and removing the negatives of the internet, and something that which is free to all students, all teachers, all education, this would have been wonderful. All they had to do is provide a tablet to each and every child, and today's India, I'm sure, can afford that. I'm sure we can afford it. So we will be able to take care of the digital divide. We will be able to take care of the distance between the rural and the urban. We will be able to go and reach out to each child in any part of the world, or any part of the country. Even if there's a 5-student classroom, that too could be, accessed with those tablets, and a teacher somewhere teaching them, and them getting, access to the whole repository of whatever the teacher has developed. So this is something, if they could bring in, I'm sure there are people, and I'm sure Rajuji, you can take it to the policy maker, that something of this sort, and India can very well afford it. If we can give the cheapest internet in the world, we can also give the cheapest tablet to the students. That is something that can be worked on. That's something that I talk about, is that what we need to do is we need to train our teachers to do this. And once they know how to use the internet, use the tools, they will automatically be able to learn more things and newer things, and there can be collaboration. Like we are collaborating right now. I'm sure we are sitting in north, south, east, west. Right, we are all from different parts. Vipin sir is from the north, Verghese sir is from the south right now, ma'am is from the west, and Suchitra ma'am, you are in the north, I'm also in west. So we have 4 corners of the country sitting and collaborating. Why can't the teachers collaborate? Why can't the students collaborate? And that will be good. But believe me, we are more focused right now than we would have been had we been in one room, having a cup of tea and trying to discuss. We would have actually carried away to something else. But here, see how focused we are. So this is something which pandemic has rightfully said by you, ma'am, has given us something, time to think, time to work on, time to introspect and see what good can be taken up. So if we use technology to that particular level only, we can definitely use it to a great part. So that's when I talk about technology. Now, I would want to talk about my industry, the industry that I belong to. That's the language industry. How and what is happening? Great initiative that certain things during the early foundation years should be taught in using the mother tongue. And rightly said by you, Suchitra ma'am, that is not a compulsion. The schools have an option, but they say that we would advise you that in areas where students are not able to understand, please use the local language or the mother tongue to explain to them. Why? Because before the child comes to the school, he already knows the mother tongue or local language, so he doesn't have any pressure to acquire a language to understand something simultaneously. So the core subjects like numeracy, like sciences, or like the EVS and all that, they could be explained to them using their local language. Okay, but very important, make sure that you do not do away with English as a language, because come what may, you have to talk the language of the world. You see, it is said that by the age of 8, a child can acquire up to 5 languages. We are talking about only 3 languages. NEP 2020 talks about the 3 language system. So those are the local language or the mother tongue, foreign language, that is English, and classical language, which in some cases would be Sanskrit, some cases it might be Urdu, some cases it might be Tamil also. So what happens here is, we are talking about just 3 languages, and all these 3 languages can be brought in right from the first year of education. Students can acquire these languages. And there's one more thing. It is said that if a child speaks 3 or more languages, their brain works better. I give you a simple example. One sentence you put in 3 languages and still make meaning out of it. That's logic. That's good. That's creativity. Let that happen. And language, I'm not a man from language. I'm actually a hardcore coder, designer, software developer. But when I went into the language industry, I realized it's beautiful. Language is music. Language is culture. Language makes a person very, very modest. So if these things are brought in, and if there are more languages that a child can speak, nothing like it. So what we need to do is, 1, see to it that during the early foundation years, use the mother tongue or the local language, but also remember that teach English and the local language and Sanskrit or any other classical language at the same level. Do not have the distinction of a lower and a higher level language, because as the child grows, as he's going to become, the world is becoming smaller and smaller, and you need to have the internet, that everything is in English. You need to connect with the outside world, that's in English. But to connect with your inner self, you have to connect with your own language. Vipin sir, you did make a statement there. So I say, yes, your inner self, if you want to talk to your inner self with this, understand your things the language of your choice, but speak the language of others. My mother used to tell me that you eat what you want, you wear what the others want. Right? I go one step further. You eat what you want, you wear what others want, you speak what the world wants. So have that language, but have your own language also. So that is something that I would want to put in, that we can always bring in these additional languages. And the more languages the student uses, the smarter it becomes, because he or she will have access to all that information. A local language will give us access to the local culture, local heritage. The classical language will give us access to the culture of our country, make us more nationalist. And imagine the amount of knowledge which is, buried within those scriptures. When will we go and have access to it? When we understand these old languages of ours. And English, of course, gives you the information and knowledge of the world. So overall, what I say is, NEP has done great. It has given the flexibility. First, it did not make it compulsory that only Hindi, only this, only that. No, they say you choose what you want, but actually have this point of things, and then take it further. And language is the first learning that a child has. Then they go on to numeracy and other things. So through these languages, let them go access the entire knowledge or the information that is available. I rest my point here. I look forward to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaswinder sir, for highlighting the importance of these two important aspects, technology and language. So big thanks for your thoughts. Now, with this, we come to the last part of the session, which is the question part. I would also invite other participants. If you have any question, you can write in the chat box. I would also present those questions to our key speakers. We have already received many questions. I would be presenting these questions in a minute. But before I start presenting these questions, I just take a minute and I would share my screen for a minute. I would explain what exactly we have been doing at School Lalaji Solutions for a minute, and after that, I'll come to that question part. Some of you are already aware with School Lalaji Solutions. We are India's largest one-stop solution platform for educational institutions. We are present in 42 cities, working with some around 4,500 institutions. We help educational institutions in 3 ways. We help them in buying right thing from right people at right price. We also help them in selling their old stuff like their old buses, generator, furniture to other institutions who may need that. We also help institutions in raising money, that may be in terms of loans or some other way. Why any educational institution would need a platform like School Lalaji? You already have your old suppliers, your team is expert, you believe that you are getting good discount, your team is efficient. Why you need a platform like School Lalaji? There are two key reasons for this. One, in our education ecosystem, we have more than 10,000 educational suppliers in different categories. They have wonderful product and services, but one big challenge for both sides, for school leaders and for those suppliers, is how to reach out to each other. It's very difficult for school leaders to reach out to every good company, to understand their product and services, to negotiate with them, to differentiate between different products and services available. It's difficult for you, for your team. It's also difficult for those companies to reach out to you. It's very, very difficult. Here we come into picture, we understand your school, your taste, your actual requirement, your budgetary limitation. And then we also talk to those companies on daily basis. We have category-wise experts who interact with these companies on daily basis. We also talk to their previous clients to certify their credibility. We negotiate with them on your behalf because we give them bulk orders, and then we connect you with the right companies after doing that filtration process. We are offering our services in these different areas: smart classroom procurement, uniform, insurance, diesel, solar plant, language lab, security solutions, furniture, recruitment, music classrooms, healthcare, robotics, STEAM labs, career counseling, stationery, digital marketing, IT solutions, educational tools, generators, learning tools, and finance. And we take the guarantee that will save you at least 5 to 7% of your annual expenditure. So that's kind of a minimum 5% additional revenue generation. We did, save 2 crore 40 lakh rupees for different schools in one category only. That's bus insurance in 2019. We did some major highlights: 8 megawatt plus solar installation, 3,000 plus bus insurance, 400 plus smart classroom, 2,000 plus cameras, 350 plus training programs, 56 old buses, uniform in 42 schools. During the lockdown, we also did, we did start one service on the request of our school partners. We delivered books for 92 schools, from their schools to the doorstep of their children. And Suchitra ma'am is here. So Manav Vachana, like all the schools of Manav Vachana, we delivered. We got the opportunity to deliver your books to your students. So by the end of 2021, we aim to reach out to 10,000 institutions. We need your support, your guidance, your blessings. So big thanks. I'll end this talk here. Now, I would request Varghese sir, if I may present the first question to you. Yes. Varghese sir, this question has come from Ms. Lavina Sharma. Lavina ji is an assistant teacher at Dr. D.Y. Patil School of Excellence. The question says, what would be the advantage of this new changes in the pedagogical structure?
Can you repeat the question?
Sir, the question is about the advantages of the changes in the pedagogical structure.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for this question. When we think about the teaching learning process, we are looking into a shift, maybe a paradigm shift in the teaching learning process. So the advantages of changing the pedagogical systems, it is more or less concentrating on the child who can really learn the things with his or her interest. Like when we plan certain things in the teaching learning process, we think about the child and his or her environment. So we have to focus on the point when whether the learning outcome is properly done. So teachers, of course, they are the people to make things happen in the classroom situation. So they have to plan, they have to think according to the mindset of the child, and they have to know the child. So we speak about every single learner matters. So the pedagogical change should focus on every single child who is trying to learn something new. So which should be focused his or her interest too. It is not from the point of a teacher or a school or any curriculum as such, but the view of a child who is learning the concept, maybe in a lower level or a higher level, so that it should be accordingly. So the pedagogical change, the advantage is for teachers to know the child better, the students to know or learn the concepts in a better way with his own interest and then skills. That's it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Varghese sir. I'll come back to you for your concluding remark. Now, I would request Suchitra ma'am, if I may present the next question. I have already posted the question in the chat box. So Meera Srivastava ma'am, principal, Takshira Public School, Delhi, has asked this question. Assessment of skill subjects, which are going to be introduced, from 6th class onwards, to be done by teachers who are not trained for that particular skill, or to hire teachers for various school by the schools for 6th to 10th class students. The student can visit places to learn various skills such as carpenter workshop, bakery, parlor, among others. Whether that learning up to the level will be assessed by whom? Who is going to assess the proficiency in that skill subject, ma'am?
Yeah. So wonderful question. In fact, that's a worry, definitely, and a true worry for all of us. It's a challenge that's going. In fact, in the discussion, all our panel members had one thing in mind, and they all expressed in different ways that teachers training is something which has to be paid importance to. So we can talk of all this NEP, we can ensure that everything is done. Teachers can put in their endeavor in every aspect and try to come up, or maybe flexible, adaptable, whatever adjectives or big words we can use. But definitely teachers training is something which needs to be paid very, very important, which needs to play an important role. And I suppose whole child education is what we've been talking of. In fact, much before the NEP came up, and I think this is exactly what is we need to engage society, we need to engage parents. We have amongst us, in a school of 2000 oblique less or more students, we have various number of expertise amongst our parents also. So this whole child education is something where we will involve the society, the community, the parents. So school is not now restricted to only the four walls of the school building, oblique the teachers who are there. So right now, yes, when we do not have anything in hand, we can go in for, there are an innumerable number of online trainings that's going on already. Things have started. There are many private organizations, there are many good managements where, like one of us is, where they are running so many schools, say 7-8 schools together. They themselves are creating modules where online teaching, offline teachings are already on, trainings are on. CBSE's got number of portals wherein we can go and educate and send our teachers. In fact, I myself is a resource person of CBSE. Constant 1 hour workshop is going on in various fields. Not only that, even the skills that we are talking about, like throughout the month, it's spread out in such a manner that we principals and many teachers, many educationists who are, whoever is expert in a particular field, we are giving online training. So it's that trainings have already started. However, we need to have more formal trainings for our teachers. Till then, whatever bit is available, we need to ensure that our teachers are updated. And of course, as I said, we can engage our parents, we can engage the community, we can invite. Imagine the dignity of labor we will be creating if I call a carpenter, someone's father, oblique a relative, oblique an EWS category parent, and tell the parent to train our teachers, oblique give a lecture how it can be done. I think that's where we are going to tell our students that how to respect each other. And I think vocational trainings can be easily taken care of this manner to start with. But definitely one request that whoever, wherever possible, must spread it across. Though as an educationist, we dislike talking about political leaders, oblique politics, but yes, definitely we need to rethink on the status, the financial condition, so that the teachers can be, they can spend money and can go in for the trainings, so that we can uplift our education system and work together with the policy, ultimately aim good for the next generation. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Suchitra ma'am, for that. I would come back to you for your concluding remark. Now, I would request Vipin sir, sir, if I may present the next question to you. This has been asked by Ms. Devinder Kaur. I have already posted the question in the chat box. Ms. Kaur is a PGT Biology with the SZSFS Senior Secondary Public School, Kalalore. When will every child get equality in access to education? It's $1 million question, sir. If you have the answer.
Yeah, that's what NCP also, I mean, NEP also focusing the same thing, quality in every way. That's a wonderful question, and even so critical as well. See, equality, and who designs this equality? So this is a common question to everyone. Who designs the equality? Me as a principal, or as a team? So that's what in my system, in my 4 pillars, I posted that if it is intellectual intelligence is important, and it is also equally important the spiritual values. That there comes the values of equality. There comes somebody said that we introduced so many things in the school, but where do you want to see the first reflection? In your teachers or in the student? So that's actually the finger cross account. So suppose if I want to practice honesty now, before pandemic, we don't trust the children. Why? Because we don't give them the assessment at home. And we pose questions that the honesty of the child, if you give some homework, we say, yeah, you copied it somewhere else. But what is the situation now? What the pandemic has gifted, it has restored the human values, in fact. How it has restored? Now, before, teachers are just like laborers. Now, when the teachers are laborers, definitely, the students will have the same perception. Okay, they are coming here, they're laborers, and the value of a teacher is itself becoming creating an inequality in the school atmosphere itself. Where in a couple of the schools when we enter, even I myself, when I visit the schools, I feel like I'm entering into some of the army camp, some of the police campus, because it's full of silence. So for me, it's quite irritating when I enter into the school campus. I would love to hear the sound and noise, because we are dealing not with the products, we are dealing with the lights, we are dealing with the smiles. So this is what actually is missing. When it comes to equality, where do we teach them? If you want to be honest, so you need to give an opportunity to the children to test them. Equality, if you treat, it's all about the reflection of a leader. A good leader can bring, practically a lot of changes into the teachers. Now, in earlier days, what we believe that leaders are visionaries and the teachers are missionaries. Now it's totally different. The leaders are just like a policeman, and the teachers are just like a laborers. They come here and they do the labor work. So the teacher should understand that as a school has given you a wonderful opportunity, a wonderful tool that is called curriculum. That's what the framework, the entire soul of your school is depend on the curriculum, the framework, where you should have a scope of your lesson, where you should have a scope of what you call the values in your, because that is the only takeaway. See, today everybody was talking And I see that everyone will remember the face of Jaswinder because when he was speaking, so full of actions, his action is speaking more than the words, his smile, his emotions, his expressions. But that's actually the real reflection of a teacher. When the teacher is a very passive, it's not practicing the equality between the boys and girls and always tagging you're a boy, you're a girl. So that actually takes place, revolves around the classroom, then that would be the conclusion of what you say, I mean, inequality everywhere. So equality is actually there. It depends on the teacher, it depends on the leader, how he involves his team to revolve around to work on the framework of, I mean, what you call the spiritual aspects. Now that is the reason many schools, when you go there, the principal used to say, sir, I don't know how to control the student, I don't know how to control the teachers, even I don't know how to control the management. So that is what the word itself striking me, control. So actually as a leadership, as a visionary, you should not use such word like, that for me is such a passive word. We say that what you call control. So instead of control, change the idea, change the concept, it's manage. So managing skills, when the principal holds their power, definitely he is a commanding officer, if I am not wrong. You give the opportunity, you give the decentralization. See, such practices, what I speak, we practice in our school. We have a very good decentralization.
Right.
I have given the powers to different leaders. And let me, one more point here, when the equality point comes, and one more point let me add here. See how many leaders here, including, I mean, so when the teachers, and suppose you appoint a teacher in the school, do you explain your vision to the teachers? Very recently, I have conducted a workshop at a very reputed schools in Chandigarh. It's one of the metro city. I asked this question. So can you tell me what is the vision of your school? So everybody was blank. It was not quite surprising. It's not the first time that I asked this question. I asked the first question, even the leaders, another leaders meet also. I asked, what is the vision for your school? He himself, no idea about what exactly the vision. So that's what I say, such a pathetic situation in terms of that is what I call the curse for the education. When the teacher first enters, when you interview a teacher, you should clear what exactly the vision. Now, when it comes to the subject, again, it varies. Now, what is your expectation for English teacher? Now, you have a common set of policies. I have a common set of policies. I give to the policies, okay, this is, you should wear a uniform, you should speak English.
Right,
but
sir.
What is the expectation about the subject? Now, this expectation actually very important. When you give a clear-cut objective, the teacher, okay, you're an English teacher. I don't expect the Punjabi teacher to speak in English, but I expect you as a language teacher to speak in English. Now you are focusing the entire mass, all the 200 teachers, everyone speak English. Now you are going to be a big failure. Why?
Right.
Because develop a system where language teachers promote them to speak English. Why do we need to focus everyone? So that is the area. That's what I'm saying. The vision is actually whatever the values we talk about. It's a reflection of a leader towards the teachers. Yeah.
Right.
So
Thank you, sir. But the question was for just 1 mark. You gave us the answer for the 10 mark. So thank you, Vipin sir, for the detailed perspective. Thank you. And before I go to Suchitra ma'am, let me take the responses from Sonal ma'am and Jaswinder sir. Sonal ma'am, there is a question in the chat box. I have posted from Miss Anju Jocelyn, who is a PGT with the Rajagiri Public School, Kochi. The question says, do we have to necessarily switch to mother tongue as the medium, of teaching in the lower grades? Is it compulsory?
Yeah, it's going to be somehow they are going to introduce it, because you can, as sir said earlier, that when you want to speak to your inner voice, you have to talk in your mother language, I mean mother tongue. And when it comes to other languages where it has to be taught, it has to be taught in English. So yes, introducing mother tongue is very much important. And I think, yes, as sir said, that a child till 8 years learns 5 language quickly. So this is the benefit, that if we keep it right till 6th standard, 7th standard, of course, in the secondary session also. But if we keep it for pre-primary or primary, those classes, it will be really beneficial, and they should keep it right, where the child will learn to know to live for himself. We keep on reading the quotes: live for yourself, live for yourself. But
Right.
this live for ourselves comes from there itself. So yes, absolutely, it should be.
Right. Thank you. Sonal
I
ma'am,
hope I made the justice.
thank you, Sonal ma'am, because the question of language, so I would be presenting this question to Jaswinder sir. But sir, there is another question that was asked by Ms. Meera Nair. I'm reposting that question in the chat box. Jaswinder sir, for you, the question, about the recent development which CBSE made with this British Council. The question was, has rolled out this new assessment framework for classes 6 to 10 in collaboration with the British Council. What exactly is lacking in our Indian system? We need to collaborate with the British Council. Is it just the branding, or something very sound which British Council is offering, which we are not able to get? What is your assessment, Jaswinder?
I have to be very politically correct, so I will not touch the names. But you see, very difficult question. I will go with what I want to say is we can always devise our own system of, assessing our students and things like that. But some of these Western countries have got very advanced ways of, calculating the progress and the learning of a child. Like when we talk about the 360-degree mark sheet or assessments, that is something that we need to learn. It is not that we are asking or taking from some other country. If somebody is doing good, what is the harm in following that? If we tell the whole world should follow our culture system and things like that, we can also follow some of their things that they have done in a better way. So I don't think there's any harm in following anybody. But I'm not very sure what this British Council way of assessing is. But if CBSE has gone ahead with them and done something, I'm sure they must have thought of something before that. Because till recently, our current education secretary, who was the chairperson of CBSE, a great lady, I personally worked with her, Anita Karwal, when she was in Gujarat. I'm from Gujarat. She was a chief election commissioner. She was also the secretary education Gujarat. So I know that if she done something, it will be great. But coming on to the point is Indians can devise their own system. In fact, we are good at devising formulas. We gave most of the trigonometry to the world, so why can't we have our own formula device? But someday we'll do it. Our only problem is when we have to devise something, we have to devise it at such a large scale, such a mass scale, that it becomes almost an impossible task. But countries like Singapore and other, where the size is so small, the number of people and the parameters are so less, that they are able to devise something which may be copied by us. So I don't know if I've answered the question directly, but over and all, what we need to do is we can always devise our own systems, but there's no harm in following something which is correctly done. There's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Absolutely. There is no need to get emotionally attached with every new development. So we have to be very rational with every development. So big thanks, Swinder sir. Now, I would request there are two questions. I would be presenting these questions, one to Suchitra ma'am, second to Varghese sir. The one question about the subject change, Suchitra ma'am, Ms. Jagdeep Kaur from Sahib Jada Zorawar Singh Fateh Singh Senior Secondary Public School, Kanara or Gurdaspur, Punjab. Can students change the subject options if their interest is changed?
I will first talk on the present scenario, right? Since I was the principal of Army School for 6 years in Kolkata, and I've served in Army schools in across various parts of the country, I have been interacting with children from all different states, right? So language or interdisciplinary language is something which has always been very close to my heart because I've been witnessing that. So in every scenario, we've seen children, for example, going on posting. A child was in Pune and he had some 5 subjects in class 11 and 12. So when the parent or the father gets posted to Kolkata, their school all this time had to go in for affiliation of particular subjects. So the school had some subjects, amongst them one subject is not existing what the child had in Pune. Though in army schools we all go with the same curriculum, with the same subject, but if the child comes from a different school. So yes, there is a possibility. In fact, CBSE, not only because of NEP, but from previously also, we've seen that the CBSE is very student friendly. So we need to get permission from the council stating that the child in class 11 had these few subjects. However, the school does not have one particular subject, say for example, sociology or legal science, and therefore the child needs to change. So CBSE does it. Now coming to new education policy, NEP, where we are saying the child can take any subject, and if the interest change, that is the exact question what ma'am had said, interest change. Say for example, choice of subjects is given at a particular level. So of course, as Sonal ma'am did mention about this, we can give a plethora of choices. But that does not mean we touch every plate and try to take one from each plate. It's not that. We have to have a minimum framework. And definitely, as ma'am was explaining, we as teachers and parents and seniors, we need to guide the child on the future aspect. What is he going to do? We need to understand the child's psychology and explain to him a little. And of course, if after that, like since we've seen that subject just can be changed, by chance, if the child wants to change, it can be done, of course, with a proper duration. Suddenly, the closure of class 11 and 12, if he comes and says, I change the subject, because he needs to be confident only then. And of course, if there is time limit is there, if the possibility is there, CBSE goes in to give permission with any changes. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. But we also organize a lot of training programs. This year we organized 650 plus virtual career counseling sessions for students. I believe the biggest challenge for students is to recognize their real interest. Let's say once they have recognized their real interest, they have chosen some subjects. It would be again, I would say a bigger challenge if they find after 6 months or a year that their interests have changed. I believe our system does not encourage students to find the interest or find some kind of, to explore things or to find this. But with this NEP, I believe that the environment would change. So thank you, Suchitra ma'am, for that. Now I would request Varghese sir. Varghese sir, there is a question from Miss Shanti Veriar. Shanti ji is asking, for online teaching, may I know as to how to conduct a test for children in the subjects? This must be thought about by NEP as the pandemic is still in progress. Online test for students, sir.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think most of the schools will be having a system of conducting exams online. We do have some pattern in our school, like we send Google Forms and then we ask MCQ questions and then they answer it. And then if it is a paka 3 hours examination, we ask them to submit immediately after the examinations through the internet itself, so that it is easier for teachers to get in. I think each school has to have a system of doing according to their availability of systems. Of course, technology is important, and then the computer teachers, they have to work on that exactly, how to make it really. So different strategies and then platforms are available, and then we can choose according to our situation. Now, recently we had conducted 9th and 11th examination, online examination. So we found everything is fine, but still we have to add some more accuracy to the examination point of view. So we thought of conducting a Viva to the children. So we have allotted 10 minutes each to each student. Teachers have to take some pain. They have to spend some more time with the children. But it was a successful story. Conducting Viva, maybe 70-30 or 60-40 ratio, we can just do it. So we will get to know children, and then we will have a interaction also, instead of having complete 80 marks written examination. So it is easier for us. So it is nice that each school can plan their examination strategies and then do it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Varghese sir, for that. Now, with this, we come to the end of this very, very special session. A big thanks to all the key speakers, Varghese sir, Sonal ma'am, Suchitra ma'am, Vipin sir, Jaswinder sir. But, before we end the session, I would request all our key speakers if we can have your concluding remarks. And, we have also established one very interesting practice that while sharing your concluding remarks, if you can also suggest one idea that you would like to implement as a priority if you get a chance to become Union Minister of Education for one day, what you would like to implement, during that one day. So I would be coming to you randomly so that you cannot fix your answers. I would like Jaswinder sir, can begin with you. If I may request you for your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Union Minister of Education?
Okay. Concluding remark would be great policy. We should look forward to implement this. This can really take us to the next level. Should not get boggled by the size or the mammoth task that we need to do. We can do it piecemeal. Take up a point, finish it up, go to the other one, finish it up, and go further. NEP does allow us sufficient time to implement this. Yes, there are going to be some loopholes, or there are some areas which are gray areas. I'm sure as we go and approach the appropriate authorities, they should have answers. If not, they will come up with answers, because this is something that they just can't afford to go wrong on. So we should look forward, and I personally look forward to rolling out NEP 2020. I'll just make this statement, though it's we realize that NEP 2020, when the first draft came in, that they are talking about Sanskrit and other languages. So as a company, we rolled out a Sanskrit language lab, the first such lab in the world, which teaches students Sanskrit using computers and all that. So that's something that we have to look forward to, prepare for what we have to do, and start working on it. That's it. Second is, if you're talking about what would I do if I were to be the Union Education Minister for a day? In a day, what I can do is I would bring focus on teachers. Again, I've been talking a lot on teacher development, but we need to get the right kind of teachers joining the teaching fraternity. It can't be my last choice of career. It should be my only interest of being a teacher. So people who are passionate about teaching, people who are passionate about kids, people who have love in their heart, people who have care in their heart, people who have empathy in their hearts, they are the people who should come and join the teaching fraternity. Knowing a subject is not important. Having a deep down, interest of teaching is something that can, subject knowledge can be gained at any time. So to get such kind of people, it has already been spoken by one of the panelists that we need to pay them well. Nowhere is it said that the teacher should not be paid well, or they need not live the life which the others can. They too have aspirations, they too have families, they too have dreams. So teachers should be paid well, and beside being paid well, the respect counts a lot. Teachers need to be respected. So I would categorize teachers as the first-class citizens of a country. First-class citizens. Teachers come first. If there's a queue, the teachers need not stand in a queue. If there's vaccination, they should be vaccinated equally when the doctors are being done, because they are also doctors of the future of a country. That's something that I would want to do that. I'll give you a recent, a fortnight back, there was an article which said that in one of these Scandinavian countries, where the teachers are paid more than the doctors and the engineers, and the doctors and the engineers went and approached the authorities and said, why are we not paid equal to what the teachers are paid? And the answer was, because you are common people and teachers are not. They are ones who've actually made you. They're the ones who are creating the future of tomorrow. We need to categorize them as somebody else more than common. So that's what we're looking at. I have actually, I'm on a mission. I've been doing that from almost around 3-4 months now. I'm actually trying to bring in a little change. And if I could request Varghese sir, Vipin sir, Sonal ma'am, and Suchitra ma'am, on a personal note, I'm just going to present a small sheet. If this is something that we can achieve, it would be great. Since I come from the language, this thing, we've trained more than 25,000 teachers till date. But what we want to do is bring recognition to all educationists. So, all doctors write a DR as a prefix to their name. Chartered accountants write a CA. Engineers write an ER. Why can't we write an ED as a prefix to our names? Let's write an ED before our name. Let the world know that we are the teachers. We are the ones who are shaping the tomorrow's world, and we need to be respected. Thank you so much. What we need to do is, if I am respected, I am bound to do good. If I am respected, I will never do wrong. So let's bring this onto that. And I'll request if you all could put this as a prefix to your name, and if you could actually ask your teachers to do that. Let's not wait for the government to come up with this thing. They're busy doing a lot of other work. So let's take it on to this. So what I have done is, without taking your permission, I've simply written something which I hope is something that would, say, if we could write this in front of him. So I've, prefixed ED in front of all your names. Because I'm not a BEd, I'm not writing it for my own. But I would say if you could all do that and pass it down, it will do a lot of good to our fraternity. Look forward to support from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaswinder sir, for that wonderful thought. This is a wonderful mission. You have our best wishes and support. Big thanks for doing this. Thank you, sir, for your participation. Now I would invite Sonal ma'am. Ma'am, if I may request you for your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Union Minister of Education?
Well, to conclude, I would say that collaboration happens only when we act and collaborate together. So we all need to come together to get this NEP work properly, which is going to happen from 22, hopefully. Other than that, I would say that backward planning is also equally important. With what has been happened, we should not go with the same thing, because policies come, but are we doing the right thing? So this has to be always thought. I think amalgamation of all the subject is the one of the best thing that new education policy has done right now. But again, I would say that on the toes teachers, and base, everything depends on the base construction, a cake, everything. So if you want to have a beautiful cake, a beautiful ice cream, the cone has to be very strong. You cannot just layer them up with 4 and 5. So we need to have a strong base, teachers. So all the best for this. And if I would get a chance, I would first thing do is train my private school teachers, because 80% of the students in city, rural area, wherever, rural, urban, whichever area, I can see that most of the students, they go in private schools, and NEP is being formulated, or they have considered most of the things are being focused on government schools. They have a little bit ignored. This is what I feel. They have ignored private schools, because they talk about training the teachers. They talk about making BEd for 4 years for government school. They are going to appoint the teachers in the area or whatever, like in the area where the teacher
Right.
stays. So these all things have been only taught for the government teachers. They are getting, compared to my private school teachers, government school teachers are paid well, I can say, comparatively to private schools. So I would change this one thing is implementation on private teachers, training them, paying them. And if government could do this, is the best thing to change and get this national education policy into existence.
Absolutely. So your focus would be on training teachers. So big thanks, Sonal ma'am, for your participation and ideas. Thank you. Now I would request Vipin sir. Sir, if I may request you for your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become Union Minister of Education for one day?
Yeah, that would be great. The first thing I would be changing that the BEd system and spending a hell out of the time taking the best. Because if you want to become a teacher, as a certified teacher, you need to finish your 3 years degree and again 2 years BEd. And if you want again to become the principals again, you need to do your MEd again 2 years. And look at this system, and I really appreciate the CBSE has actually collaborated with the British curriculum. If you go to the British, you see their structure. Their post graduation is a year. The degree, and along with the degree, when they pass out, they're coming up with the BEd also. So now what's happening here? It's simply stretching the entire time. That is the reason you ask a question to the student in a classroom, how many of you want to become a teacher? I bet you that you don't even get even single child who is raising the hand and say that I want to become a teacher. They want to become a doctor, they want to become an engineer, they want to become a pilot. But very rarely it happens the students say I want to become a teacher. Why? Because the teachers are degraded, and if you want to become a teacher, you need to spend a lot of qualification you should have, and at the same time, what do you say that educational level also you need to have different degrees. The one thing I would like to change that the BH system, in the place of BH system, I would like to prefer to go for postgraduate diploma in education. That means that one teacher should be capable of teaching multiple subjects. That's what's happening if you go to we got a very good concept called TTC, where teacher is capable of teaching different subjects. He's qualified, equally qualified to get into the school system. Whereas if a teacher wants to become changed into a TG to a PGT, he has to spend so many years. That's why the hesitation comes. You are getting the teachers, as Jaswinder rightly said, that we are getting teachers not by not by choice. They're just becoming a teacher by chance. So no other profession, let me become a teacher.
Absolutely.
So in initial days, teachers are just like I still remember my teacher. He's so inspiring. And why do I remember them? So when we compare with the today's scenario, now the teachers are just coming and just giving the notes and going. So they're not coming into the role of an actual educator. So that is the thing that this would take place. If you say that your school is successful, can you able to, as a leader, can you able to create interest among the teachers and students, interest among the students, and students have to say that I want to become a teacher too? How many of you can do? Because if you don't take morally responsible, then who will take? If everyone wants to become doctor or engineer, and what is the future of India? So we are having NCP and all. The second thing I would like to add, see, every state has a different culture and different thing. I don't know how this NEP is going to benefit for the state-wise system. So I would definitely remove this one. I'll give independent freedom to the state to formulate, to structure their own curriculum, their own design for the entire state. This is what I would suggest instead of this.
Absolutely. You said like teachers should teach multiple subjects. Absolutely, sir. During our last session, Dr. R. Gopal, a director and head of department from D.Y. Patil University, Mumbai, participated, and he shared like teacher may have capability to teach 2 subjects or 3 subjects, but they are fully occupied. Let's say they are being offered 1 subject to teach. So I believe they are being utilized for 90% of their time inside the school, to teach that 1 subject. So how they're going to arrange time for the second subject, that would be another challenge. Second,
that's a good question. That's a good question. Let me add to this point. You asked me that how they're going to manage. See, Varghese sir has traveled abroad. So their teachers teach 2 subjects. If English is a subject and maths is another alternative subject. Now, the allocation of period is very important as a leadership. I mean, if you are a principal, the allocation is very important. It doesn't matter that every day, from Monday to Saturday, you have English lecture, then science lecture, math lecture. So this is what actually differed my point. My point of view here, if a teacher can able to teach 2 subjects, and it should be given in the subject allocation, what is the weightage for language and what is the weightage for mathematics. And if you look at the timetable of most of the schools, you see the everyday language is there, and every day you will see maths. Every day, so the major subsets are every day. And why do we need that one? We need to give equal importance to the allied subject also. Why not maths? Why not art and craft? Why not dance? Why not sports? So this is what I'm talking about. Allocation is very important. Yeah. If a 90% of the teachers are involving in 1 subject, then that the school will be a big failure, because where is the scope for the teachers to think and prepare?
Absolutely. Thank you, Vipin sir. You are speaking directly straight from your heart. We really appreciate your passionate remarks, sir. Thank you for participation.
Thank you.
And now I would request Suchitra ma'am, if I may ask you for your concluding remark, and what would be your priority to get a chance to become Union Minister of Education?
Second question is tough. However, let me answer the first one. I would like to say, as I began my speech, I'm very positive, and I think NEP 2020 did not happen just like that. We ourselves were asked to give drafts and then redrafts. It was considered, there were thousands of people who were into it, and therefore then the policy came in. Now it's our responsibility that whatever is best, we utilize it and we ensure that we follow it. There are a number of good things that can happen if we all join our hands together and ensure that we play our role and we become successful in making NEP 2020 a grand success and ensure that our children benefit. To come to the second question, which is a little difficult. However, since you've asked, I have got, in fact, not one, I would say 2. One is, which my co-panelists have already said, we demand respect in the society. Only the cream should come for this education department. That is something, unless and until we get there, I think we will have to work on till we prove that yes, the cream needs to be joining this profession, for which whatever the salary and everything will come into picture. But I will not go into details. Respect is something which is not there as of now. We need to ensure that we teach our students how to respect their teachers. They will automatically become wonderful human beings. And the second is a little bit on the biasness that we have. I see every year good students, but because they are from the general category, they are placed nowhere, and therefore they are frustrated. So I think now it's high time we think of some balance with, I will not be able to categorically say how, but we definitely need to work on bringing in some balance with this blocking of seats for a particular category. These are the two things that I would emphasize on. Thank you.
Absolutely. Big thanks, Suchitra ma'am, for these thoughts and for your participation. Thank you. And now I would request and invite Varghese sir. Sir, if I may ask you for your concluding remark, and what would be your idea that you would like to implement if you get a chance to become Minister of Education? So,
yeah. For the first question, I should say as a concluding note, NEP policy is well articulated with a lot of vision. Only thing, it should be an unending process of collaborating everyone with making very positive and constructive experience in, of course, lot of diversity. We have got lot of diversity, and then we have to respond very positively. Everyone, all of the country should respond very positively and proactively to make it happen. So things will change. Definitely things will change. Let us, as a principal, as a person, every day I have to try for that. Each step which I make should add to this NEP policy. So if everyone thinks so, something will happen and changes positively will happen even in rural areas. The second question, I can answer the question with I will try to make humble atmosphere for everyone to make each policies happen. To explain it, teachers should be, as everyone told, we should create ample atmosphere for teachers. We should create ample opportunities or ample atmosphere for children. We should create even atmosphere for parents too, understanding their family situation, economic situation. So to make it clear, so try to be positive and then create an ample atmosphere for everyone to contribute. That may be a suggestion. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Varghese sir. Absolutely. We also hope for the same. Big thanks to all of you, Varghese sir, Suchitra ma'am, Sonal ma'am, Vipin sir, Jaswinder sir, for your participation. I also thank other participants who were with us during the entire session. So big thanks for your participation and making this 145th session truly special. Big thanks. We'll end the session here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Suchitra ma'am, your numbers are same, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Jaswinder sir, kindly text me. I missed your number.
Yes, sir, I will do that. I'll do right away. And Suchitra ma'am, your numbers same, na?
Yes, sir. It's the same number, 833. I think I have your number, sir. I'll say hello again. Right?
Thank
Wonderful
you so much.
session. Thank you so much. It was a real good interaction.
Yeah.
Keep doing
Thank
such
you
good
so
work.
much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, it was a
Bye.
good.
Bye. Take care.
Sir, my numbers.
Thank you so much, everyone. Nice talking to everyone.
Sir, my
Thank you
number
so
I've
much.
put in there. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
So,
everyone.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.